Alright, I think the live stream is finally working. I had some difficulties there. Yeah. It appears to be working now, so my fingers crossed that it stays this way. But today we're going to be watching this Falcon Heavy launch. It is the Echostar 24 mission you saw in the title and the thumbnail. They're gonna land the boosters today, on land, at landing zones 1 and 2. And it's gonna be cool. So this is Space Coast Live. This is NASASpaceflight's collection of cameras, and they are looking at Falcon Heavy right now. You can see some venting from the side boosters there, and so I'm actually gonna switch over and listen in to the mission control audio. I've got to mute these other live streams here just to make sure that they're not gonna interfere with their mission control. Oh, this is Starbase Live. They actually scrapped Starship 15, SN15 today, which is the saddest news ever because that was the first ship to land. You can see it's probably just up in this camera here. The nose cone here, and then this is the body section. You can see some guys working on the OLM. Steel plate under there. Starbase is doing quite good. Anyways, the Starbase is not what we're here to watch. We're here to watch Falcon Heavy. We've got the SpaceX stream here, which is starting in about 35 minutes. This is the mission control audio. So we can listen into this, and we can, just listen to what SpaceX is talking about on their mission control loops. I hope the audio's working now. Mission control audio is not saying anything right now. They're just hanging out, I guess. But yeah, so this is, you can see the pad here. That's the Starship Tower. And this is Falcon Heavy, ready for launch in about 30 minutes or so. They have a 99-minute launch window, so if they have any sort of holds or delays, they have an hour and a half basically to resolve those before they're not allowed to launch. You can see them venting, continuing to vent there, but hopefully they go exactly at 11:04 p.m. Eastern, because I don't want to have to sit here for an extra hour and a half. So, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a good launch tonight. So just waiting. We're just gonna wait here for a while we wait for this thing to launch. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the Starbase Live here. I'm just gonna see what they're doing over here, because it's interesting. So yeah, I already talked about the scrapped serial number 15. Hopefully it's not gonna go to the trash. Hopefully it's gonna go to this nice display somewhere. What are they doing at Starbase? They're fixing this right now, because this is the launch mount. This was basically destroyed on the first launch. This was a giant crater under here, but they're just doing a bunch of repairs, and they filled in the crater, and then they put a steel plate on top instead of the old concrete. They just had concrete under there, but now they have a steel plate that shoots water out. It goes up like this, and it would cool down the thrust and suppress the noise from the engines on the booster. They're continuing to build their ships. They've got one here in the high bay. This is ship 29. I think the mega bay is empty right now, and then the mega bay 2 is just under construction. But in the rocket garden, they have this is ship 26 on the engine installation stand. This is booster 11 right here. Booster 4 is kind of right behind, and then SN15, which I was just talking about, and then they have right behind that is ship 20. So they've got a lot of stuff in storage, because they're waiting for the launch pad to be fixed before they can do a launch. But you can see booster 9 on the launch mount, and ship 25 is also out there at the launch site. From this view, it would be kind of over here. It's done its static fires, and it's just waiting to fly. So, see what happens with that. I'm gonna switch back to this camera now. I had to mute this stream and turn this one on. This one's on already. Good look at this now. Yeah. So there's not really much else to say. Falcon Heavy's just sitting here fueling up. So this gray stripe I know people will have questions about the gray stripe here on the bottom of the second stage. So yeah, the second stage is the top of here. The second stage starts right here and ends down here, and then in here is kind of covered by the side booster. This is the interstage. So the second stage nozzle, the Merlin vacuum engine, is actually inside the interstage. And hopefully we'll get some good separation views because SpaceX recently upgraded their cameras on the second stage. This is, of course, the fairing. This is where the satellites are protected. This is where they stay during the launch, and then these will fall away after the second stage separates. Moving down here, in the middle, right behind this big, I don't know what to call it, tower thing. This is called the strong back. The rocket actually lays on the ground horizontally, and they lift it up to vertical. And they just did that just like a few hours ago. So behind the strong back, hiding right there, is the core stage. This is the center core. And this is going to be expended today, which means they're not going to attempt to recover it. There's no landing legs, there's no grid fins, nothing on this middle booster. On the sides, though, these are the side boosters. So there's one here and there's one on the other side. Now these are both going to be recovered today. They're going to come back in and land at landing zone 1 and 2. And so these boosters have flown before. They previously supported the USSF-44 mission as well as the USSF-67 mission. USSF-44 was November 1st of last year, I think. That was the first Falcon Heavy launch in like 3 years. And then USSF-67 was just earlier this year in February. And they also launched another Falcon Heavy in April here, just at the end of April. And that was a fully expendable launch. That was ViaSat-3. And they did not recover any of the cores, the boosters. But that's okay, because today they're going to be recovering the 2 side boosters. Now, there are, I think, 2 more Falcon Heavies that are supposed to fly this year. There's the Psyche mission, which is in October or November, and that's going to an asteroid. And this asteroid is like pure metal, basically, and they're just going to go study that, and that's launching on Falcon Heavy. The other one is USSF-52, which was originally supposed to be this mission, but that's what everyone thought was this mission, was USSF-52, but it turns out this is Echostar 24. USSF-52 is another United States Space Force satellite, just like USSF-44 and 67. Those are all government satellites that are classified, so we don't know what they are. I'm not sure if this is classified tonight. I don't think it is. But, so hopefully we'll get some views from the second stage today, because on the classified missions they don't show it. But, so this mission, it was originally supposed to have a dual drone ship landing. So the 2 side boosters would land on 2 drone ships that were, station keeping basically beside each other in the Atlantic Ocean. And that would have been pretty crazy. But unfortunately, Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy somehow managed to get more and more performance with every flight. So now this is a return to launch site landing. I think this is probably the first time people have complained about a return to launch site landing, because return to launch site landings are awesome, especially double ones with Falcon Heavy. SpaceX just tweeting now. Less than 1 hour until liftoff of Falcon Heavy. All systems and weather are looking good for launch. So that is a good sign that we're on track to lift off relatively soon. So, the weather, I mean, it's hard to tell because it's basically midnight. Not midnight, it's nighttime. But it should be, it should launch tonight. I think it'll launch tonight. So this payload that they're going to be launching today is actually the heaviest payload that will ever be launched to geostationary transfer orbit. This is 9.2 tons, and yeah, 9.2 tons. So that's why they have to expand the center core. And actually, the last time we saw a reusable core was way back in 2019, was STP-2. And the first 3 Falcon Heavy missions used reusable cores, and all 3 of those failed. For numerous reasons. The demo flight of Falcon Heavy, they just completely missed the ship and slammed into the ocean. The second flight, I'm pretty sure it landed. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it landed, but there was some sort of issue and it fell off the ship. And I think it was the same case with the STP-2. Just because, the core gets up going way faster than a regular Falcon 9 first stage would ever, basically. That was and they're trying to land it, so there's obviously extra damage that is caused by re-entry, and the ship has to be way farther downrange. So all in all, it didn't work out quite well. It didn't work out as expected, and I don't know if the recent launches of Falcon Heavy with all expendable cores have been on purpose to try and that SpaceX doesn't want to worry about recovering the stage, or if the missions require the performance of an expendable core. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. So yeah, again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Put them in the chat. I will try and answer them. Anything about spaceflight. It doesn't have to be about the Falcon Heavy tonight. It can be about, Starbase, yeah. So it appears the fueling is going well. I believe the frost line is up to here now. So this is the liquid oxygen tank. This is the kerosene tank. Kerosene, liquid oxygen, burn them together, creates fire, which hopefully we will see a lot of fire tonight. Fire from 27 engines. Does it get colder when you get to space? It depends on which way you're facing. In shadowed regions of space, like say you were spacewalking and you were looking towards the sun, well, your back is out of, not in direct sunlight, so it would be pretty cold. Your back would be pretty cold. But the front of your body would be quite hot because there's nowhere that the heat can dissipate in the atmosphere or anything like that. What does the word frost line mean? So the fuel in these stages is very, very cold. SpaceX super chills all of their fuel. Super chilled fuel basically gives them extra performance. I think that's the 20-minute vent there. That should be the 20-minute vent. So every Falcon launch has a vent at T-minus 20 minutes, and I believe that's purging, or not purging lines, because they're still fueling, but that's the start of fueling on the second stage is what it is. Start of LOX fueling, because the lines go up to there. Anyways, back to the question, what does frost line mean? Well, they use super cold fuel, because when you freeze oxygen enough, it turns to liquid, or solid if you freeze it even further. So, liquid oxygen is a lot more energy dense and efficient than having just a tank of just gaseous oxygen would be, because you can compact so much more. Liquids are reasonably denser than air or gas. So when the rocket is being fueled, the metal outsides, whatever material the vehicle is made out of, they get a bunch of frost on them because the ambient air touches the super cold metal sides of the vehicle, and it instantly becomes frost. So that's why it's super frosty. And as the fuel is filled, it's like pouring water in a cup. The line of the water goes up and up, so the frost line goes up and up. So that's what we're referring to when we say frost line. Why are the engines big, and why is it bigger when you're in space? I had a YouTube short on this actually about the Raptor sea level and the Raptor vacuum engine, but I'll just explain it briefly here. So the way the nozzle is designed for sea level engines, the curve of the nozzle and the expansion ratio, the diameter of the throat, all that good stuff, that is very perfectly tuned to operating in sea level. Now, obviously first stages do most of their propulsive work in an atmosphere close to sea level, so they want to optimize those engines for the environment they're going to be in as much as possible. Well, the second stage engine is quite a bit bigger, and that's because there's no as the atmosphere gets thinner and thinner, you want to have a bigger and bigger nozzle, which adds to the efficiency, helps you burn your fuel more efficiently, and so the expansion ratio needs to be massive, basically. And the expansion ratio is, so the end of the rocket nozzle, if you imagine a rocket nozzle, it kind of is like a bell shape, right? Well, where the expansion ratio is the top of that bell down to where it tapers out to the bottom of the bell. Well, the top of the bell in rockets would not be closed off exactly. It would have a hole in it, and that's called the throat. Now, the ratio of the throat to the nozzle exit, which is the very bottom of the bell at its widest point, that's called the expansion ratio. And, expansion ratios differ depending on the environments and the engine and fuel type, all that stuff. But in space, it's good to have a high expansion ratio in order to be most efficient and get the most ISP out of your fuel. So if you are watching and you're not subscribed and you haven't liked the stream, please make sure to do both of those things. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers soon. I don't know when that'll happen. Soon. So we are just about, let's see, we are 18 minutes away from the opening of the Falcon Heavy launch window. I'm going to check up on the SpaceX stream and see if they're live yet. SpaceX is live. Right now it's just the intro music, so we don't have to watch the intro music. But as soon as they are done with their intro music, we'll switch over to the SpaceX stream. They'll give us more information. Anyways, there we go. 4 likes. Thank you, thank you all for liking the stream. It's helpful. It helps promote it to more and more people. More and more people come and watch. Yeah, thank you. So as a reminder, I do have Nightbot activated. So this is a bot. Most channels would have this. I'll just do a command here. ! subscribe. Now, if you want to do the bot yourself, put in ! and then Falcon Heavy. That no capitals and a space between Falcon and Heavy. And just see what happens. So if someone wants to do that, go, feel free. Yeah, I agree. I would like to talk to you, Everyday Astronaut. Yeah, I would like to do that. Yeah, you have to have a space in between Falcon and Heavy. Yeah, you don't need... Yeah. Let me try it. See if it's working. Falcon, Heavy... I'm not sure if it'll work. I just added it today. I'll double check on that. SpaceX stream should be up and running pretty quick here. There. SpaceX stream is up, so we're going to switch over to the SpaceX stream. Preparation for launch here. We are about...
The operational Falcon Heavy mission overall. Today we'll be launching the Hughes Jupiter 3 Echostar 24 satellite into space for our customer Echostar and their Hughes Network Systems division. The Jupiter 3 payload on board the second stage was built by Maxar and will be the largest commercial communications satellite ever to launch into geostationary orbit, weighing over 9 tons.
Looks a little bit dirty.
Once operational, Jupiter 3 will help meet demand for HughesNet satellite internet in rural areas of the United States and Latin America, as well as demand for Explore service for rural customers in Canada. In addition to supporting enterprise and government applications, Jupiter 3 will also power higher-speed satellite internet service plans in North America, while helping to expand and enhance HughesNet across Mexico, Brazil, and South America. We'll have more about our customer and their payload later on during the show, so be sure to stay tuned.
Ambient birds and noise and
At T-minus 13 minutes and 45 seconds, all systems are currently go for an on-time liftoff of 11:04 p.m. Eastern Time. The vehicle started propellant loading around the T-minus 50-minute mark and is nearly fully loaded with propellants now. Weather is green and the range is also ready to support. But if for some reason we don't launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at the same time. The Falcon Heavy that you can see on your screen is essentially 3 Falcon 9 rockets strapped together.
Is it good?
Having 3 cores instead of just the one on Falcon 9 means that we are using 27 engines between the 2 side boosters and center core today, and that allows us to carry heavier payloads to various orbits in space. From a technical standpoint, we are creating a more powerful first stage
I turned
that
up the
carries
microphone.
more fuel and burns longer than the first
It's good
stage
you can
on a
hear
typical
both
Falcon
the
9
SpaceX
mission.
and
Now, at the very
me,
top of our
because I
rocket,
want
as
you to
can
be able
see
to
on
hear
your screen,
SpaceX.
is our payload fairing. This is where the Jupiter 3 satellite is safely enclosed between two composite pieces. The fairing protects the payload from aerothermal loads, heating, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, though, the fairing isn't needed anymore. So we will
these fairings have flown before. You can see
continues on its journey to orbit.
You can see that.
Both fairings supporting today's mission are flight
There's
proven,
a good view.
with one half flying
Turn up
for its
SpaceX.
time
Okay.
and the other for its sixth. Once those fairing halves separate from the second stage, we will of course be attempting to recover them again today with the help of our recovery vessel.
SpaceX likes to turn up their
Now, right below the fairing, we have a second stage, which is connected to the 28th engine on board Falcon Heavy. This is our Merlin vacuum engine, and its job is to power the payload to its final targeted orbit once the center core and second stage separate.
Okay, so
the second stage for this mission is
11
also
minutes
debuting
and
a new
54
medium coast
seconds to
configuration.
launch.
Just in case you didn't know, our second stages have three general
configurations. Assuming the launch happens tonight, it should happen.
The
weather
is
good still, and
on how long the second stage needs to operate
rocket and the payload are both good.
Kit, which is what we're using today, provides better performance for some missions and includes
this is
an
the
added
largest
battery loaf or
satellite
power
ever
pack,
to be launched
painted
to a
gray stripe on the
geosynchronous
outside of the
orbit.
fuel tank, and other
And
hardware
correction
to
a
make
little
sure
bit,
that the fuel and stages systems operate as
a while
long
ago.
as needed.
I said the
Now, if you
20-minute
look very
vent on
closely
Falcon
at the
Heavy.
stage
It's a
2 on your
22-minute
screen, you can just
vent.
barely
I
see
just
that
read
stripe of
the
gray paint that I mentioned.
NASASpaceflight
While
tweet.
in space, that paint will absorb some heat from the sun in order to keep the second stage fuel warm enough for our long flight today. Payload deployment for
you can
Jupiter
see
3
some
is
venting
scheduled
from the
to
top of the
occur
second
after
stage
3
there.
second stage
They're
engine
just,
burns,
you know,
and occur
continuing
around
to
the
load
T+3 hour
propellant
and 30-minute mark. We
on
hope
the
you'll stick with
vehicle.
us till the end. Now
And
moving
they need
further
to just
down the rocket,
they need
as
to
I mentioned
vent
a little
to
bit earlier
not
today,
have an
we have
overpressure
3
and an
Falcon
explosion.
9
That
rockets
would be
essentially
bad.
strapped together. All 3 constitute our first stage. Each of the side boosters on either side of the center core are flying for the 3rd time on today's mission, having previously supported 2 Falcon Heavy flights, USSF 44 and 67.
Because if they had an explosion, they would not be able to launch, obviously,
we'll attempt to recover
and they
both
would have
side
some
boosters with a land landing on landing zones
difficulties
1 and 2.
pleasing
And
NASA,
fun fact, landing zone 2
because
was
NASA
built specifically
would want
support
to
dual
stop
booster
their
landings like
flights
this
on
one.
their Falcon 9.
Similar
Because
to previous
whenever
launches,
whenever
we'll be
a
conducting a one-engine
problem
entry
happens
burn.
with a
This
Falcon
allows us to
rocket,
shorten the length of the
NASA
entry
has to
burn,
re-review
ultimately allowing
everything
us to increase performance of Falcon Heavy overall.
to get it certified.
And speaking of increased performance, we will not be attempting to recover the center core today. If you look very closely, you'll see that the center core doesn't have landing legs or grid fins attached. That's because this mission requires more performance than we have to be able to recover
Freebird
the
to the
center
launch.
core.
Okay,
and that
do
landing
that.
hardware isn't needed.
I'll watch that.
But don't worry, today's launch should still be
So
a very exciting
this,
one, especially
big
if you're
tank
joining
with
us from the
SpaceX
Space
here.
Coast
This is the
tonight,
water
where you should be
tank.
in for some
Because
beautiful
they need
nighttime
water.
landing
These are
views.
little
And now,
sprinklers,
as
not little.
promised,
These are
here's a bit
giant.
more
These are
information about our customer and
probably as
satellite
tall as a
today.
house. If not taller. Oh, well, now they
over
switched
half a
away.
century,
Let's switch back to
we've
the other
been on a
cam.
journey to connect
promotional
people,
video here.
enterprises, and things around the world. Innovation runs deep
Just
in
leave
our
that on. I
veins,
don't have to mess
from
with the
developing
audio.
the
So
two-way
anyways,
VSAT in the 1980s to inventing satellite internet in the 1990s.
now you can't see
to
it.
launching
There's the water
first
tower.
modern-era
So this is the water
telecommunications
tower.
satellite
There's
in the
water in it.
2000s.
'Cause
We've
it's a water
tackled
tower.
the biggest connectivity challenges
There's sprinklers
and
around here
applied
about the
our
size of your
engineering
house.
excellence
Now this
to
water
uncover
tower
innovative
brings
ways
the
to
water
connect
down
the
and
unconnected.
shoots the
Since
water
the
at
launch
the
of
base
the
of the
first
rocket,
Hughes
which
high-throughput
deadens the
satellite,
noise,
we
because
have
if they didn't have
engineered
any
some of the highest
water
capacity
there,
broadband
first off, it'd
satellites
probably
in the
blast a
world.
crater in the ground, and
And
second
now,
off,
our latest and
the
greatest
vibrations from these
innovation
engines, because
launches
what's
a
dangerous
new
about
era
a
of
rocket launch is not
connectivity.
the heat,
Jupiter 3,
it's
world's
the
largest
vibration
commercial
and the pressure.
communications
The
satellite.
vibrations would shake the
26 feet
payload
tall
to
when
death,
stowed,
basically.
It boasts 14 solar panels
And that
unfurled.
wouldn't be good for customer satellites, so they gotta
This
stop that
massive
acoustic energy as much
satellite
as
was
possible.
purpose-built
It also
and
helps cool
engineered
down a
like
little bit.
no
That's not the
satellite
primary
before.
purpose, though.
Hundreds of team members have devoted countless hours to bring Jupiter 3 to life. The highly anticipated
You can see this,
next-generation
little Hughes video.
ultra-high-density satellite doubles the size of the Hughes Jupiter
not the
fleet
most
and
interesting
brings
thing,
total
but
throughput to more
it's
than
cool to
1
see the-
terabit per second, enabling
cool to see
more
the
capacity,
hardware
better service, and
on these
faster
satellites.
speeds. With 300
We're just about
highly
gonna get into
concentrated
engine
spot
chill.
fields,
I'm gonna
Jupiter
pause
3
for 1
expands
second.
our
I'll be
reach to nearly
right back.
80% of the population
I'll be right
across
back.
North and South America. The engineering ingenuity built into Jupiter 3 will expand the connected experience. For the family in Ohio, streaming movies on a Friday night. For the student in Mexico, expanding her horizons with access to technology and educational tools. For the farmer in rural Idaho, monitoring the weather each day to manage his crops. For the executive, flying from New York to Los Angeles, holding a meeting over first-class Wi-Fi in the sky. For the senior in Montana, consulting with his doctor by telehealth. For the ranger at a national park, coordinating in real time with emergency responders. For the mango grower in Brazil, expanding her family business nationwide and internationally. For the entrepreneur in Ecuador, promoting his business and taking customer orders. For the grandmother in Mississippi, meeting her new grandchild by video chat. All this and more as Jupiter 3 launches a new era of
Okay, I am back. 13 viewers, wow. Okay, please, all of you, stay. Don't leave, because
With liftoff just
6
about
minutes
6
till
minutes
launch.
and 15 seconds from now, the vehicle
Could they
and
just
payload
put a
are
human
healthy,
on the Falcon
and
Heavy
propellant
and
load
send them
is
to
well
Mars?
underway on the launch pad.
Okay, well, there was a
Speaking of the
proposal a
launch
few
pad,
years ago
you may
for
often
something
hear the
called
pad on your screen referred
Red
to as
Dragon, where
Historic
they would
Complex
launch
39A, and there's good reason for that.
Dragon spacecraft
LC-39A was originally built to support the Apollo program with the
onto
goal of landing
to
humans
Mars,
on the moon. This
presumably
launch
on a
pad
Falcon
eventually
Heavy,
supported the Apollo 11
and
mission
then
to the
they
lunar
would
surface, carrying NASA
landed on
astronauts
Mars.
Neil
This is with no
Armstrong,
crew.
Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins in July of 1969.
So theoretically, they
So we're
could
just
launch
about a week
someone
past
to
the
Mars,
54
but the problem
anniversary.
would be
54-year
returning
anniversary.
back to Earth.
And after numerous
because,
launches of the Saturn V and Space Shuttle vehicles, the launch pad was leased
with
to SpaceX
as little
in
Delta V as
2014.
Dragon has,
Since
they
then,
wouldn't
we've
quite
launched
have enough
66 missions and
to make it back
38
to Earth,
humans
I
to
don't
space
think,
from
unless
launch
they
complex
added
39A.
little
Today's
upper stage
mission
or
will
whatever
mark
that they could launch from
SpaceX's
Mars from.
249th
But yeah,
overall mission
and plus
to
they'd
date,
have the human
our
rate Falcon Heavy
67th
then.
mission from 39A, and 50th launch of 2023. We look forward to reaching even greater space milestones on this launch pad for years to come. Now, coming up next, we should hear the call out for Strongback Retract.
Falcon Heavy tanks are pressing for Strongback Retract.
So there you heard Mission Control confirming that we are pressurizing the tanks.
So you
ahead
just
of
heard
Strongback
over
retraction.
the
Next up,
over
the
the
clamp arms around the second stage,
communications,
which you can't really see because they're being
the
obscured
flight
by
loops
those
there,
LOX clouds there,
that
are
they
going
are
to begin
pressurized
to
for
open.
flight.
And that truss structure next to the vehicle, known as the Strongback, will retract away from Falcon Heavy.
In order for them to be able to retract the Strongback, what you just heard them talking. So the center core will not be recoverable, but the side boosters will be recovered, yes. Center core is going to crash into the ocean. They don't need it anymore. Side boosters are going to come back to land and land together on landing zone 1 and 2, just a few hundred meters apart.
Boiling off the surface of the tanks inside the rocket as that
everyone says it's a one-way ticket. Well, hopefully when it's time for humans to go to Mars, it's not a one-way ticket. If someone wants to go with a one-way ticket,
there you can see coming out from behind those clouds, we have had the clamp arms open up around Falcon Heavy in preparation
the clamp
for
arms
liftoff.
are opening. You heard on SpaceX. Strongback going back. It's going to go back a few degrees.
There you have a great view of the
and then as soon as the Falcon Heavy lights and launches, it'll go about to 45 degrees.
Ahead of liftoff, we'll see
she's
full
saying it now.
retraction so that Falcon Heavy can clear the launch pad. Now, the next major milestone we're tracking is liquid oxygen loading completion. We're expecting that here in just about a minute.
So again, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the stream yet, like the stream. We're 3 minutes away from liftoff tonight on Falcon Heavy. There we go, another like. Thank you. Can they just put in a little rocket? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm sorry. 2 minutes, 40 seconds away from liftoff on Jupiter 3 mission, Echostar 24, whatever you want to call it. So at about 1 minute, we'll see Falcon Heavy going into startup, and
seconds left of
this
liquid
is
oxygen loading.
25 seconds left of liquid oxygen loading. At T-minus 1 minute startup, this is where Falcon Heavy switches to its internal computers, internal power, and it's getting ready for launch. And then we have liftoff, obviously, T-minus 0. I think they'll ignite the Merlins a little bit before that. Max Q, I think that's less than a minute into flight. Then we'll have the booster engine cutoff, and those will separate. Those will do their boost back burns to fly back to landing zone 1 and 2. Then we'll have main engine cutoff, where then the core will separate away.
Really gorgeous views of Falcon Heavy on the launch pad tonight.
And then we'll have entry of the side course and landing.
The next major milestone we're tracking is going to be the announcement that Falcon Heavy is in startup mode. Which
There you
means
go.
that the internal
30
flight
seconds
computers
until
have
startup.
taken
You can
over
see the
final
moon there,
count in
right
the lead
by
up to
the
liftoff.
access tower.
About T-minus 1 minute is when we
39
expect
tower.
to hear that
You
call
can
out,
see
and that's
lots of
also
venting
when
now.
stages 1 and 2 will begin to pressurize for launch.
Will we be able to see the drone ships with the landing? They're not landing on the drone ships. They're supposed to land on drone ships, but SpaceX just switched in the last week or two, and now they're landing on landing zone 1 and 2. What a great view. Yes, okay, I'm gonna... countdown. Launch abort started.
As you may have just heard over the nets, we just heard an abort called out from our launch director. We're waiting for other updates from Mission Control, so stay tuned, and we'll come back with an update as soon as we can.
Again, they have a 99-minute launch window, which means, yeah, we're just put back to right after S2, RP1, and LOX load. So they could launch tonight, but chances are they won't. So we're just going to wait and hear if it's a scrub. Do you know why they switched to the pads? Well, they were able to, I guess, gain some extra performance, or the satellite gained extra performance, and they were able to fly it with the dual landing zone landing. Just waiting to hear what SpaceX has to say. I'm going to pop over to mission. Actually, never mind. So the countdown clock has gone away, so it appears that we might have a scrub. Although those might be detank vents, but it appears... I'm saying appear a lot. Now, if they don't launch tonight, they have a window for the exact same time tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to stream that tomorrow as well. Just waiting for some more information from SpaceX. If it was a scrub, they would have this is speculation. If it was a scrub, they probably would have called it. So we may be still looking at a launch tonight within the next an hour and a half. They could have had any number of problems, and they may be able to resolve those in the time that they have been given, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm just going to wait for some updates from SpaceX here. It appears the rocket is staying fueled. They're not detanking, so they might have a shot at launching.
Please be advised that we have scrub for the night on Falcon Heavy.
Scrubbed for the night. Just now. Scrubbed for the night. No launch tonight. Darn it. So maybe we'll know what the issue was.
If you've been following along, you know we had an abort during the countdown tonight at T-minus 1 minute and 5 seconds. Prior to that, the countdown was proceeding nominally. And keep in mind that the purpose of the countdown is to help us catch potential issues prior to flight. There are 1,000 ways that a launch can go wrong and only one that it can go right. So given that, we are overly cautious on the ground, and if the team or the vehicle sees anything that just looks even slightly off, they'll stop the countdown. Again, the vehicle and payload are in good health, but this will end our launch attempt for today. Our next launch opportunity is tomorrow around the same time, so keep an eye on our social media channels for updates. Hopefully you'll join us. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
SpaceX has ended their stream here. I'm gonna switch back over to Space Coast Live. It was a fast end. Tomorrow, same time, basically. I'm close to 100% certain I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'll let you guys know. And, yeah. Hopefully we see a launch tomorrow, because I don't know when their next window is, if they have another one. But yeah, come around the same time tomorrow for the launch. And just check and see if SpaceX has any updates. No updates. Thanks for the new sub. Okay, yeah, everyone, I'm gonna go. See you all tomorrow. Rumor has it that it was a range violation. Several cop cars on site. We'll have to wait and see what SpaceX says, but that's possible. There's lots of different problems that they could have had, but it's possible that it was a range issue. We'll have to just wait and see. So I'm gonna go. Thank you all for watching. Please, if you can, tune in tomorrow at around the same time. I'll do a community post on my channel. Let you guys know. But that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.